Good morning, people on the internet watching other people on the internet build printers. Good morning, everybody. Why is my camera so unfocused? It's going nuts. Turn that off. How's that? We good? Only 7 likes? We can absolutely do better. Thanks for the push, Penguin Makers. Who's in the chat today? Mr. Robert Brown, good morning. Haven't seen you in a while. And Tin Talon, good morning. Bryce, good afternoon. Low Sync, Nathan, good afternoon. Mr. Kevinar, thanks for being a member for 2 months. Really appreciate it. Who else do we have? Charmingly Camara, good morning. Wix Central Mike. Martin, Da Vinci 10. Who else? Boothig, good afternoon. It's afternoon for you. Yeah, about 3:30. Tom Taylor, good morning. Popaway. Aaron, good morning. Yeah, we got all the regular folks here. I love it. Excuse me. Yeah, we're getting autofocus on a lot of different things right now, and I don't know that I like that. It's just moving around. I don't know why. Ooh, maybe that's why. There we go. Fixed it. It's a very interesting frame behind you next to the Delta. Oh, that guy over there? Yeah, that's the members build that we were building on yesterday. A couple of months ago, we did a members build, and that just became live in the last couple of days. So if you want to check out this build, go back and watch the replays over there. Yeah, but that just became live. I also have no light on today. Sorry, folks, we're a little bit late, a little behind the curve. Drinking some tea right now. Nice. I need some tea right now. My throat's a little sore. Camera trying to riz my filament collection. Yeah, it is. It's definitely focusing in on that green for sure. Puppy Bowl Day. Mr. Kevin R 430. How's the A5T? A5T is good. A5T is installed. We'll take a look at it here in a second. Just trying to finish up some of the wiring. Hey, Howie. You were late, so worked for you. Yeah, I'm late as well. I was, 2 minutes late getting on, and then forgot to turn lights on. Cameras are going nuts. It's one of those deals. You would think I took 2 weeks off. It feels like 2 weeks. Added a pic on Discord. Let me check it out. Did you put it in the stream chat? Oh, show off your prints. Okay, let's see. Gergman, nice AT-AT. Oh, banana for scale. I love it. That's great. No, but you can't. No, I see. I got it. Yeah, so like when we're talking about stuff on stream, it's best to use stream chat because that's where I'm going to go first to look for anything that we're talking about here. Good morning, Pez Liz. But you can post it wherever. I'm not super strict on who posts what where. I just want you guys to share and talk. That's all. Excuse me. Yeah, throat is definitely a little bit sore. I got my water here though, so we should be fine. But talking a lot yesterday and then back on today, so hopefully not getting too sick. For your A4T built, just have to add, I don't know what BFI. Oh, beefy front idler, sorry. And put on the soul carriage. Nice. Steve 3D Builder, hello. All right, what do you guys say we get locked into it here? This camera. Sorry, I'm trying to make it lock on me, but it's having a hard time today. Let's get this party started. Absolutely. You're the same way as I am. I just want to get going. Okay, let me show you where we are. So things move around a little bit. Let's get this all set back up to where it should be. Like that. And then also let's move our main cam up. Had it moved down yesterday for our members build. And so now we got to go back up for this build. All right. Camera has ADHD. Yeah, it's one of those things. 12-volt heater, not happening. Cannot creator had Jabberwocky issues last night, so don't feel bad. Yeah. Jabberwocky, I don't know. I don't have any experience with it, so I'm reluctant to say anything. But for the folks that I have heard, they're having less than desirable results on that. Okay, so I was out here a little bit about an hour ago. Had to run inside and get set up for other things. But the last thing I need to do is make a short wire for connecting the SSR to the power supply. So before I get too far into that, I'm going to jump in on the Voron website. I'm sorry, the Voron manual, and make sure, just double checking my wiring, making sure that I'm paying attention. Since the last stream, I did redesign a few parts. That's why I have the printer looking the way it does. So a couple of things I had to do. You can kind of see it coming in here. This yellow piece, I had to redesign just a touch. So I just modified it so that there's a secondary position for an M3 screw right here. So I just chose to use a flathead screw, a little bit of Loctite so that doesn't move. Now, when I move the carriage over, my axis will actually trigger. Otherwise, the A5T is so wide that it hits the XY joiner before it actually triggers the end stop. And so that's a little bit of a mod. I wouldn't even really call it a mod, I guess. It's just a spot to put a heat insert with a flathead screw. Pretty simple. I've also modified the, what do you want to call it? The Z end stop. Let's pick this up a little bit so you can see. The Z end stop here, I had to bring it out away from the frame about 5 millimeters. And that's so we can clear the kinematics that we used on there. It might be a little bit hard to see. I can kind of see it on camera there. But just modified that to bring it out. And then modified this rear bracket so that it's more low profile, so that it also clears the kinematics. So we're getting around it. What else did I do? Down here, I made this a little bit thicker. So instead of printing the entire part over again, I just added a spacer in there to be able to lock that down a little more securely. And so that is good to go now. And then printed a few Z covers here so to keep the junk from getting down inside the motors. I've also ran a couple of wires here for the bed. And let's see if I can lift this up. You can kind of see that under there. So I've got a bracket with a couple of Wagos and then a 2-pin connection for the thermistor on this side. On the opposite side, there's a 3-pin version of this. So one for each bed fan, and then an out that we also need to run down. So I need to make two 2-pin cables and run those through the chain down to the electronics bay. And then that should be the wiring for the bed. I've also gone through and cleaned up the wiring here at the tool head. I've got everything routed down through. I've got my Y in stop connected as well. Motors are routed across the frame and down in, and so good to go there. So we're pretty close. In the background, I've got things trying to flash. Sorry, what am I trying to say here? I have Raspberry Pi Imager trying to write the SD card for the CB2, but it's taking forever. It's only on 1% and it's been stuck there for like 20 minutes. Hey, Digital Dragon, good morning. You added a personal touch in the parts bag. Thanks, Howie. I'm glad you like the build. I'm very happy with this build. I like the color. I like the theme. I like the choices we've made so far. I need to figure out what's going on with this right though. Yeah, we got so many folks in here. Protein pancakes. I love protein pancakes. Are these the Kodiak cakes? Or are these the, what's it called? Pure protein pancakes? There's a few different versions, but yeah, my wife makes me protein pancakes all the time. She made me protein waffles a week ago and threw them in the freezer, and so that I have them whenever I need to. Right, let me try to get you guys a good angle here. So what I need to do one more deal. That's run a wire from the SSR over to the power supply. Kodiak with eggs. There it is. Thanks, Robert. Has a moving bed and linear rods. Yeah, that's the idea. This is a mashup of a Legacy and a Trident. And so that's what you're looking at here. I am running the 1.5 GT belts on it though. So 1.5 GT all around. It's got Apex clips in the back. This is A5T. So 50-15 fans. Just using a spare Bondtech LGX Lite. Nighthawk. Yeah, pretty standard build. 2504s for the motors with double shear from Vitali. And then Vitali's, can't see it based on the camera angle, but there you go. You can kind of see it in there. Vitali's tool head board mount solution. Glass fiber on most of the things. All the dark purple stuff is glass fiber. Everything else is Polymaker. So this is Polymaker Pop Pink. And this, although it may look kind of orangish on camera, is Polymaker Pop, yeah, oh, I'm sorry, neon yellow for that. And we're going for a Taco Bell theme. Physitech inverted electronics underneath. Manta MP5 with a CB2. LDO's new power supply. Yeah, everything else is pretty standard on this guy. All right, let's get over to the manual and take a look at some of the wiring here for the SSR. Dong. Yeah. All right, this guy. Let's get down to the manual. So we kind of left off here the other day. Just installed docks on your Stealth Changer 6-head 350. Yikes. I want to do a Stealth Changer someday. We'll see. Again, we've skipped all of this portion of the manual because we just got the LDO bed kit. It comes with the heater and magnet installed. All the wiring is done. It just needs to be connected down below. And so all of this portion is done. In stop, we use the Sex bolt from HeartK. That's the one that we modified. That's already installed as well. We'll blow through this. Our setup for the WAGO connection is a little bit different, but that's fine. We've got the bed frame built. We've got it connected to the printer. We can get past all of this. I'll tell you what, we'll do this button down here. So that's on. We are connected that way. I just need to make two. Yeah, there was not a ground on this, to be honest. And there was not a ground, but what'd you miss? Nothing. Good morning. Good morning. We're just taking an overview of the progress on the printer. Not doing stealth burner. Chain is installed. Inverted electronics are good to go. So we'll get past all of this. Things are set there. I'm just looking for more wiring portions. Yep, main board's in. Stepper drivers are on. Voltage is auto switching because we're using the LDO version. It says to ground all the things. We'll probably have to do that at a later date. This is kind of what I was looking for. So we've got our live coming in from the bed itself, and then that's coming down. So live from the power supply over to a WAGO, but we're not really doing that portion of it. And so that is connected directly to our SSR here. I don't have this 5-volt PSU on the right. So mine is just directly connected to the load here. And then from the bed, you can kind of see how this works out. So we've got 2 wires down from the bed coming through, and here we go, from the print bed. You've got one going directly to the SSR, that's already installed. The other one should be going to the neutral side of the PSU. And then your spare extra side of your SSR here should go over to your PSU as well. We're going to switch the live wire is basically what we're doing. We wired up the all-wheel drive gantry motors on your full tool head 300 last night. Nice. Yeah, I missed it. I was on daddy duty last night with a sick kid, and I feel like she got me a little bit sick too. Hey, Cybertech, good morning. Did you get your goodie box yet? Cybertech? Okay. So I'm going to start right here, kind of use this as my guide. Wire does come down from the bed across the zip chain, and that is connected to the live side of the power. And then we're going to switch that. Actually, this should come down to the neutral. We're switching the live. So I need to actually move this. I was not paying attention and connected it to the wrong side. So we want to have neutral connected directly from the bed to the PSU. Like so. This LDO power supply is really nice. It's super small, and you get 2 terminals for each of your mains power. Okay, and so that comes down from the bed itself to the neutral. The other wire comes down from the bed over to our SSR, and then we need to connect our SSR back to the live because we are switching that live wire. And that's what this one is here. So we just need to make this one up. It says the 12th. Nice. That is a long time. That's like another 4 days. It's like, where's my tool? And it's actually sitting right here. So just putting together some fork connectors. The only wire I have right now, I thought I had some 20 gauge laying around, and that should be fine for what we're doing here. But all I had was 14, so I'm actually using 14 gauge instead. Makes it a little bit more thick, but I think we have the room in the spaces here to be able to do this. Let's put in the full man on that one. You're excited for the first time in a long time? You like Christmas? Oh, don't be that excited. It's just what you asked for. Sissy Kid, good morning. Finish up the last bit of bed wiring here. And then we're going to make 2 wires, one for thermistor, one for bed fans. We'll run that through the Z chain, and that should be the last bit of Z chain wiring that I have to do. It's motivation. There you go. What do you plan to build? What is the next project, Cybertech? I caught a bit of your stream the other day. So right now I have this loose so that I could actually rotate that and access the terminals here. Let's push that down behind the power supply. And this should come over to the live. So now we are switching the live terminal via SSR. And then so that'll switch, it'll go over to the other wire, which will go up to the bed, and we should have mains wiring there. Don't forget the cover. If you have a cover on your power supply, don't want things touching that side for sure. You get a nasty little jolt. You have a CC1 to print prototype. Centauri Carbon 1, is that what you're talking about? Always excited for goodies. All right, so that looks like bed wiring to me. Let's make up 2 other wires for our fans and then for our thermistor. So I have the wiring chain, not chain, container down here, and this is just a super long fan wire. This is probably, I don't know, 500, 600 millimeter wire. I don't know if it's going to be long enough or not, but I definitely want to use up any stock that I have. And I don't know if it's going to reach all the way back to the board, so just trying to measure this out. It might, but like barely. And so this may be better used as a thermistor. It's hard to tell. I mean, I could just run it straight across, but that's not going to look nice. And some of the other stuff is not as long. So I do have, in addition to a bunch of other stuff, I've got this 2-pin wire that's already like twisted together. And you can find this, I don't know, pretty much anywhere, but it's just 2-pin, 2-wire connection. What is it? Looks like 10 meters of 2-pin wire. 20 gauge, it looks like, according to the package. So it should be fine for what we're trying to do here. Oop. Pull that back through. Please ground everything if you haven't already. I can't help but remind everyone. Yes, I do need to do that. I do need to do that. You are correct. The bed did not come with ground wire. It did come with everything else wired. I just need to run those cables as well. That's what we're working on right now, is all the wiring from the bed down to the rest of the printer. And I have ground wire, and we're going to be good there. Trying not to make a mess out of this spool or non-spool. It's kind of held together with some plastic wrap here. I didn't do that. That's how it came. Just want to get enough of this out. Gonna keep the stream going, but have to wake up the partner and get ready for pre-stream. Yeah, I appreciate you. Do your thing. All right. So I think we have enough here. I will start from below and just kind of run that out. Starting from down here, so that way the bundle is at the bottom and I can just release more as we go. And because I hate this, I'm going to cut away. There's my flush cutter. I'm cut away this plastic wrap. It's getting annoying. Hey, good morning, Jeff. Up and across. Tell you what, let's move this up just a touch. You guys can actually see what we're doing here. Try to keep the bottom in frame and the top at the same time. It's about the limit of the range of motion that I have here. So this goes into the chain. Like so. And we'll go under, and we'll just do a couple of pins here. All right, strippers. Take a little bit off, maybe like 2 or 3 millimeters off the end of that. That should be enough to put these pins on here. What's up, Moji? Haven't seen you in a while. How are things? I saw that you guys made a change to the stream podcast. Keep wanting to call it a stream. That's what I'm used to. Good. I am also good. I'm also good. I don't get as much stream time since we got into 2026 that I was getting back in 2025. I don't know what changed exactly, but the universe is making it more difficult to be proactive and out here and busy. So it just probably means I just need to take some time off. So like that, and you can label this if you want to. It's pretty self-explanatory what it connects. So I'm going to just go with it here. All right, these go that way. We've got red at the top, black at the bottom. And we'll go here. Trying to match the wiring of the fans that's already in place. Sweet. We can pull the slack back through. Actually, I did put a zip tie in here and I almost forgot to use it. So thread it through the zip tie before connecting back to our little breakout PCB. Once we get this all tidied up, I'll give you guys a close-up on it. And then because Cybertech said so, we have to run ground wires as well. Don't you have a move coming up? I do, actually, yeah. I do have a move coming up. Not sure when or where. That's always the next question, right? When and where. Don't have answers for you on that. I will go back in later and put this in the cable chain. But for right now, definitely just want to have it in place. So I forgot which of these are fan wires. So I'm seeing fan 1, fan 2. Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to need a fan breakout board or something. There's just not enough fan ports on this thing. Because if I have like lower electronics fans, and then we have one over here that we're already using on a heater pin, once I have a lower electronics fans, I'm going to need to, gonna need to do that as well for these bed fans. I think I can just use this, what's it called here, fan 1. There's an always on, there's a fan 0 and a fan 1. I think we'll use fan 1. X-Air Builder, hello. Maybe to the East Coast and we can get you to... Dude, I would love to go to 3D Printopia. That's kind of the sad news of the week, is like confirmed I cannot make Rocky Mountain this year. I got to be in 2 places at the same time, and Rocky Mountain is not the priority. It is for me, but not for the job. The job says I got to be elsewhere. I will be in Florida this coming, not like tomorrow, but the week after. I'll be in Florida, flying out there on Monday. Always afraid that if a bed heater shorts, it will energize the frame, and without grounds,
Thanks for the sub.
Won't trip the breaker, therefore making you the ground. Yeah. Have you ever seen that happen? Like in real life? Additive Adams, a member for 4 months. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support. Where did all of these go? I took a whole bunch out. Oh, right here. Your career in HVAC. I can see that. I can see that. Ooh, that one is mangled. We're not going to use that. But yeah, we should always be grounding things. I agree with you. I'm just teasing a little bit. Industrial HVAC mechanic. Nice. So, seems to be a few HVAC folks around. You guys aren't the only ones I've heard of lately. Okay. Luckily, the board is labeled, and it's pretty clear that the way that I have mine mounted, sorry if my head's in the way here, I'm trying to look down inside of the machine. Looks like red on the right, black on the left. Let's give that a little tug test, make sure we're good to go, and that's going into fan 1. We'll put that under this cover here in a second. I just want to run everything first. So that is that. Next one we need is the thermistor wire. I would prefer to use something that is white. That way it looks like a thermistor wire. And I definitely have some wire down here that is simply white, not the red and black like a fan wire. I just need to find what I did with it. There we go. We have some 26 gauge, 5 meters of 26 gauge here. I'll just pull off a bunch of this. Again, leaving the extra down here. 35 years retired. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, I don't know that I'll be sticking around for 35 years. I'm at 23 and a half, almost 24 at this point, and that's already more than I had planned. Yeah, having this plate on here does make a difference. It's a little more difficult to route things. But actually, why are we fighting the force? Let's just go from top down. If I had a fish tape, we'd be set. Starting to get full of wire down here. Luckily, there are no skirts on, so it's pretty easy to see what's going on. Let's see if I can grab that with these. There we go. So I'm just laying this out right now to try and get a good length. And I know the bed thermistor is TH0 and 1. Where's the bed? I saw it earlier. mean, most things are labeled except for the bed right now, and I'm not sure which one it is. Oh, right there, TB, right there. So that way, put this up here somewhere. Okay, that goes up and around. That, and it goes over there. We can turn that shorter later. Up and around. Down. Around that side. And to right there. So probably cut that about there. Use some filament as a fish tape. That's a good idea. You got sucked in by your brother at 14? Jeez. And you're only 50. Good on you. All right, so I'm gonna just make another one the same length here. Industrial laundry equipment. You always love walking in and starting units and getting comfortable in the space that everyone else spent months sweating their butts off. Yeah, if I needed to actually fish tape something through, I would do that. I think right now we're okay with this though. It's just a matter of the tedious work of stripping and crimping all these things. Well, what's up, Danny? How's that micron coming along? Good morning, Nozzle Clog. Oh, before I forget, if you guys are here for filament giveaways, US only, those are pinned in the chat. Oh, sorry, not in the chat, in the description. So if you just go down there, select that, get signed up for the filament giveaway. Should be doing that here in about 2 hours or so. Wherever I get to a good stopping place. Stayed up late building the MMU3 community mod. Today is all Micron. I saw your post on that on Instagram this morning. I had not heard of that. So I need to go back and check it out. I have it open and saved. I just need to go and look at it. It looks cool. I have a night owl kit under the workbench here that I need to get to. It would be a good candidate for this guy. All right, so we're good on that. Let's run 2-pin connection. This doesn't matter. You put these in any way you like. I'm beginning mods to a Neptune 4 Max to add linear rails to X and Y today. That's cool. Does that project have a name?
Thanks for the sub.
Thanks for the sub there, Neokoi. Appreciate you. Thanks for becoming a member. Now you get to watch the member stream, so you should go back. We were streaming yesterday building the salad fork that we are calling Skelefork. So I've got these extra strips of yellow heat shrink that we were using to make labels with, and there's always maybe like an inch of label that gets wasted, and so cutting off the ends of those, I just use them for regular heat shrink. And I'm going to do that because this wire in particular likes to coil together, and so I'm going to do that to keep this a little bit straighter. But this is just not wanting to open. Here we go. They are upgrades from TBS Tron 3D. A coworker saw good improvements on his. Okay, I've never heard of that person. TBS Tron 3D. I'll have to check it out. Speaking of LDO, you printed with it for the first time and very impressed. We'll be getting more. Yeah, they make a good filament, especially in ABS. They haven't branched out into other material types yet. I think there's an ASA carbon fiber, but mostly it's ABS, and they got some pretty decent colors. I'm so fortunate and thankful that they choose to sponsor the channel and do the filament giveaways every week. So shout out to LDO and the team over there for doing that. All right, so we have this on. The way I'm gonna do this is kind of come through my 2 zip ties that I already have in place. I just have them looped and very loose so that I could just get the wire through. And then there's another one on this side holding things together. You get to look at my head for a little bit. Like that. And this comes back. I'll tell you what, let's turn this around. We'll make it a little bit easier. You just won't be able to see electronics as closely. Here we go. You got some Fabrico during the recent flash sale. Nice. On PEI. I'm the same as Cybertech there, Jeff. I use 105 on PEI. For ASA, I go a little bit hotter. ASA likes heat. So I'll tend to run like 110. LDO film is good stuff. That and ambrosia is 95. Same. I mean, you see the wall behind me. It's mostly ambrosia. Anything extra that's back there is kind of left over from before ambrosia existed. So there's a lot of bamboo. That's pretty decent. I've got a lot of polymaker, ambrosia, and some LDO. That's the majority of what I have. I've branched out and gotten different things so that I could try different things. But I find myself just going back to LDO and bamboo and ambrosia because I like the colors. I'm very much a person that wants the color I want, and that's sort of brand agnostic for me. Okay, so I know that I can put my ground on the other side and run that through. So this zip tie here can be cinched down. I'm not putting anything else here. Actually, I think they want our ground to be detachable as well. I need another Wago in there. So let's do that. Put that Wago in there. And so actually I won't cinch this down yet. Let's make one more cable for our ground. So let's level out these wires. Strip these, and we'll make another 2-pin connection here. You took your polymer and printed Gridfinity with it? That's a good idea. Yeah, I need to print, so I'll give you guys a peek behind the curtain. What we made for, we're gonna do the same sort of grid, the same Physitech EMS system for the Skelefork build. So if you remember, we talked about it yesterday on stream, but these are the parts for that. These finished up yesterday. I just allowed them to cool on the printer overnight, but it's the same process. This was just released about a week ago for the salad fork, which is why I had not planned to do it before, because it didn't exist, and now it does. And so if you're looking for a salad fork EMS, inverted electronic system, it exists now on Physitech. You can find it on Printables. So I was surprised to see that. I just happened to look, and there it was. I need these right now. Polymaker, autocorrect. Yeah, I knew what you meant. The best is to start with a base temp and find what works. Yeah, for sure. What flow and PA am I using for ASA? I don't remember. Whatever stock Orca has for generic ASA is what I use. And that's going to be different regardless, right? So your pressure advance is going to be a little bit individual to your machine. You can use the generic stock settings for tuning, or you can use someone else that has already tuned it in and use their PA ratios, but it's best to tune it yourself based on your filament, your particular printer. But getting those numbers from someone else to get you started for sure. Is there an easy way to post clean TPU? What do you mean post clean? Like it's stringy or like gets dirty? What do you mean? You're in the mountains of WNC. I'm not sure what that means. Western North Carolina. I'm gonna take a guess. In a shed, so ambient temps play a factor. Same. I'm in a garage in the Mojave Desert. Temperatures play a factor here as well. Right now, it's a great time of year. We've got beautiful days. It's like 70 degrees, you know, maybe 72. At night, it gets pretty cold. At night, we're down in the 30s, like the low 30s. But the majority of the time, it is pretty nice during the day. So once the sun comes up, it'll get warm enough to be shorts and t-shirt weather. Stringy TPU, got it. Stringy TPU, what I would do is put a little bit of heat to it with a torch to get rid of strings. But if it's stringing that badly, you probably need to dry it. You need to dry it, or it's old. I don't know when you got it or anything like that, but I would try those two methods first. And if that didn't work, worst case, you can just hit it with a torch and remove a lot of that stringing. Probably still going to end up with some blobs. TPU is just very finicky like that. You're going to EMS on your Trident? Cool. Yeah, I like the EMS. I've got it on my Trident as well. You have a Merc 1 that refuses to print, just prints 1 minute, and then just a ball of nothing. Try different filaments, PA values, nothing works. When you say ball of nothing, is it coming off the bed? If it's coming loose from the bed, JDEC, I think that's how you say it, JDEC 26. If it's coming off the bed, I would clean the bed, scuff the bed. It depends on what print surface you're using there. If you could share that with, we'll be able to help you a little bit more. Just don't know what your setup looks like. All right, there's our thermistor, and we'll route that through the raceways that we have. Grounds, we need grounds next. I do have green wire. I'm not using 14 gauge for this. I've got some green 20 gauge over here, and that should be more than enough for what we need. Where's the end of this? Right here. This one? No. Where's the end of this? This one? There we go. Okay, so I know that I need one going from the bed itself to the Wago that we have underneath. You're not going to be able to see this, but I promise you I'm going to do it. And then I also need a way to connect this to the bed itself. There's a screw here with a star washer on it to provide that bite. I'll just need a ring terminal. You could use a fork terminal in a pinch. I don't recommend that though, because that fork terminal can get loose and come off when the bed moves over time. So I prefer on something like this, on a moving component, to use a ring terminal. That way, even if your screw comes loose a little bit, it's not going to completely detach from the machine. What I don't know is the size of that screw, so let's see about taking that off of there. Stringy TPU, yeah. Brand new out of the bag. Yeah, okay. Kenny, if it's brand new out of the bag, I would dry it. Just because it's brand new and out of a bag doesn't mean that it's not wet. I would try drying it first and seeing what happens for you. Yeah, so that's your screw. There's a small star washer on there. Let's see if this camera will focus for you. Focus. Come on, baby. I'll tell you what, let's go down here. This one should be good. Why is this not working today? We'll force it then. Let's go this guy and we'll say, there we go. Let's try that. Yeah, you can see that little star washer on there. That's going to bite into the metal of the bed and provide good ground contact. This is an M3 or an M4 button head. And so I've got my ring terminal here. And I'm going to put that on there. This one's probably a little big. I do have a different size. So he's a slightly smaller. It's the last red one I have. Slightly smaller ring terminal. So that'll go on there and have enough room. The way that I'm going to do it though, because it installs vertically into the bed this way, you can see that you have this red part that sort of sticks up. What I want to do is flip that over this way so that it will sit flush on the bottom of the bed and any of the plastic piece is down. So that's how we're going to do it. You have to head to robotics with the kid? Yeah. No worries, Moji. We'll probably be here when you get back, depending on how long you're gone. Love the colors. Thanks. Dude, I hope we get Super Freak. I need to reach back out to Layerworks about that. Super Freak filament is, I think, a little bit on pause. I haven't asked, and I think we just kind of got busy. But yeah, Super Freak filament would be great. All right. Put the terminal in. Back and now on your way to Outback to try the teriyaki kebabs. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'll be honest, I haven't been to Outback in years and years and years. We don't eat out a lot. Okay, so that is on there. Give it a tug test. We're good to go. Screw from the top into the bed. You spoke with him about it the other day. It's still on his mind. Good, good. Yeah, I need to reach out to him as well. That's all I'm saying. But I do appreciate you looking out for me, trying to get that off the ground. So I'm going to put this in first and just really crank that down, making sure that those things bite in there together. And we can route this over to our Wago. Give it a little trim there. And then we'll strip this Looking for a twist, and then right inside that wago there. Actually, I'm gonna rotate this ring terminal the other way so it tucks a little nicer up under the bed. Like that. Let's get our regular Allen key out so I can put some torque on it. There we go. Secure, not coming off. And then from here, we'll route this down and through below. Let's get enough out so I don't have to worry about it. They are new. Oh, the kebabs? Yeah, I've never heard of that. I'm just saying I haven't followed Outback anything in a long time. I haven't even been there in a long time. Go redline that car today. Close to power on? I think you're right. I think as soon as we can get some grounds wired up, we'll probably be safe to power on. Yeah, it's pretty close. Let's move all these out of the way, make some space. We'll go through our zip tie, everything else. And then through our other zip tie, and then to our wago over there. Outback is disappointing. That's why I haven't been back in a long time, because I wasn't impressed the last time I was there years ago. Looking for color ideas. Picked up an LDO Trident 300 Cube. Nice. What color frame? I'm not a color person. I usually ask a ton of questions, do a lot of research before I figure out what theme I'm going to go with. But I'll do my best. And we got enough people in the chat. That's where a lot of good ideas come from, too. Can cinch this down now that we have a full. And I even went all out. I went and got fluorescent orange zip ties for this, too, to add another pop of color. Gray frame. Okay, so I have a gray micron and I have a gray switch wire. Gray frame. Both are different. My micron is LDO teal, dark teal, and atomic uranium yellow. I can show you. So this is your uranium yellow. Super bright, fluorescent, UV fluorescent color. And then I have a darker, dark teal color that I'm using from LDO. For my switch wire, it's a tri-colored machine. That one is LDO dark teal as well, but it uses a blue glow-in-the-dark ABS filament and then also some pop pink. I think it's pink. What color is this? It is not pink. It's like magenta or something like that. But yeah, it's tri-colored. Pull these wires through here. Let's make sure we have it all nice and tidy. I did add a zip tie point under the bed onto the bottom of the frame there. There's a space to add a one of these things. What do I do with it? So I made a bunch of those additional zip tie mounting points that you can find in the Trident repo. So these kind of twist into the frame itself and give you a point to zip tie things. I just installed one in the bottom of that T-frame for the bed. And I'll run another zip tie there to kind of tuck the wires up under the frame. And then, of course, you have the one zip tie point on the Z-axis mount here. And I'm just doing this to make sure that all the things we're tying down are like tucked up and out of the way as much as possible. I like to use a lot of zip ties. They're almost free. What are they, a penny a piece or something? So there's no real reason to not use as many zip ties as makes sense. All right, let's rotate this a little. You can see what I'm talking about. Let's pull this additional wire through. And then that'll give me a chance to zip tie this one here. Jeez. This is the worst part about it, is like when you get so many wires that you're trying to put through, they don't like to play nice. Okay, like that. Now we're in there. That's great. Leave just a little bit of room to cinch that down to the Z bed mount. And we'll come in and clip that end off of there. Do it this way. Where did I source the bed? Part of a kit. Don't knock it. It is from any of your resellers. You can find an LDO, just a bed. It'll be the metal with the magnet and the heater already installed. I got this one specifically from West 3D, but I would imagine that you could get it at all your different resellers. Okay, now we can start to lock down some of these Z-chain clip things. I don't know what the actual term is for them. Okay, route this down. Toss around the idea of using West Ambrosia multicolor ASA for your next printer build. When you say multicolor, are you talking about the rainbow, Gergman? Color configurator, yeah, that's a good idea. James' turn to pick this week. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up a little bit on chat here. Didn't see you come in. Good morning. Don't knock it. Hey, Steve. Yeah, we're having fun. We're getting the bed wiring done. So we just added our ground wire for the bed and fishing that down into the electronics bay. We added a couple of bed fans and had to make up some thermistor wires, but should be about done with that. All right, all clean, all the mess is down below. So we'll do a little bit of cleanup down here. Get some of this extra wire and tools out of the way. Well, that just exploded. That's going to be fun to clean up later. All right. So we have our ground here, and I know we want to ground both to the frame and then also to the bed. So this is the one coming down from the bed. We can just attach this directly to our power supply. But I think what I want to do is sort of create a loop here. We'll strip some insulation from that, and we'll kind of twist that together. And then that'll give us not only a connection to the power supply, but then a tail that I can then attach to either this metal, this steel frame, this lower base plate, or to the frame itself. I think in the In the manual, it tells us to go to the frame itself, so that's probably what I'll prioritize. But yeah, that's the idea. Let's see if I can make that happen. So that looks about right there. So if I can strip out where this loop is, that'll give me enough to connect to the power supply and then have a tail that is about, we can cut the tail just a touch long and then trim it back as needed. Allow me to get rid of this and be a little easier to work with at the same time. Retraction down. Rainbow, okay. Yeah, I think rainbow would be interesting. The only thing I don't like about it is when you get into a gradient filament and you start to print things, depending on the height of the different things, you get different layering. And then the orientation of the part may matter as well. So you'll have your striping go this way on one part and then vertically on the other part. And it can look a little funky. So just keep that in mind when you're considering gradient filaments. That down there. Okay. For this, how I'm going to strip the center is we'll get in from the side. Let's do a little bit of a strip with that. Come on, out of there. And so that stripped it enough that I can come in with my flush cutters and peel back any additional little bits of wire insulation that may be here. I'm just trying to be careful not to grab the wire itself. Right? And then because we stripped that, that should be a little bit loose to be able to pull that back. It might be too much on there to do it. Ow! You get the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger on ASA Rainbow? Yeah. I mean, it can get weird. So if you're going to print a vase with it, it's beautiful. If you're going to do parts that are oriented in different directions, it may not be desirable. So just, as long as you know what you're getting into, it's fine. Whatever your aesthetic is, no judgment. Ow! Poked myself. So strip a little more of this. This is definitely not a easy way to do it, but it makes it really clean. And worst case, if you end up screwing it up, you just cut it in half and then twisting the wires together and doing it that way anyway. So there we go. We have a strip down the middle here. Let's put these together, twist that up. And then we can add a little fork terminal on there and be good to go. Fork terminal in, wire in. And then put the full man on it. Sweet. So we do have a ground wire for something already connected. Oh, that's for our, so we did put a WAGO terminal block down here. So realistically, these could be connected over here to this distro. I'm choosing to go direct to the power supply though. So let's remove our cover. And we can put it right on that terminal there. Let's remove that guy. That in there. We'll put our feeder for our terminal block back inside as well. That, and then we still have our free side that I'm going to add a little, what are we calling these? Ring terminals. I'll add a little ring terminal to the end of that. And so that way I can put that on the frame. We put it on the frame, we can add it there. It just, well, wherever makes sense. Rarely a nozzle jam unless you're digging into the bed. Jams happen higher up in the extruder on heat break. Correct. Correct. Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate not having to deal with that for a while. Haven't had a heat break clog in a while. Using up old spools of filament. Some filament was 10 years old. It was dry but jammed in the extruder. Yikes. Timur, that sounds ridiculous. Okay. So I'll wait till I get these skirts on until I really decide where I'm going to ground this item. But I definitely want to avoid any place that might be impacted by the skirt. So our ground is there. We'll connect it on a invisible spot later on. Okay, let's take a quick tour of what we've done so far. I'll try to lift this up, get it in the frame here. So there's our wiring. This is for the bed. I'm sorry, the bed fans. So these two 50-15 fans here will act as sort of a recirculation fan under the bed to heat up the chamber a little bit quicker. These power wires come from the opposite side for the bed heater itself, and the ground wire and the thermistor come from the opposite side. Very similar layout. Come across, attached to the rear of our Z-chain mount here, and then up in the chain, and then back down into where they need to be. So that's what we were looking at. You can see that zip tied up nice. I did forget this one, so I'll probably trim that zip tie and get that one in the bundle. But yeah, pretty clean overall. About as clean as you can get it with all the number of wires that are there. So should be about ready to power on. It's a good place to be. See if things are talking to one another. I know that we don't have an SD card in here because it just would not write for some reason. So I think we need to do that. Let me get set up again. Let's go here. And let's do, I think I need Balena Etcher. I don't think I ever downloaded that again. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's look for Balena Etcher. This one here, download. And we need that for Windows. And so while this is getting installed and whatnot, let's chat a little bit. What's everybody doing for Super Bowl Sunday today? Any big plans? People throwing parties? I think we are, so the wife is working. I'm home with the girls today. So if we watch it all, it'll be just the three of us. And they're not going to watch any Super Bowl. Let's see if I can capture this window here. This one, I'll call this one. That, and we'll capture that. Okay. There we go. Let's bring this down here. Cool. So we have our etcher window. I'm going to flash from a file. And I downloaded this earlier. This is from the Big Tree Tech GitHub for the CB2. Our target's going to be our SD card that's already in the computer. And then we'll see if that actually flashes. And we'll keep an eye on the status, but I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit. Hey, Ken Davis. Hey, Palms. Better than any Super Bowl. Streaming during the Super Bowl. Okay. It's going to be a tough one. We're going to have to double stream. I need 2 TVs. Super Bowl always happens on your birthday weekend. Always too busy eating cake. Same. Howie, when's your birthday? Mine is on the 17th. So I usually get like a 3-day weekend or a holiday weekend for my birthday. Super Bowl is the reason you said it's Puppy Bowl Day. Yeah, I'm not a huge football fan, but I like to watch for commercials and things like that. I enjoy football. I just don't follow it like that. Yeah, I'll try to tune in as well, Penguin Makers. 6th. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, mine is 17th, so I'll be traveling on mine. I'll be on an airplane. Oh, this is already working much better than the RPi Imager. So I tried to use Raspberry Pi Imager before we started to get things going. And from the time we began stream about an hour and 20 minutes ago to right now, it only made it 1%. So I don't know what was going on with that, but it just was not working whatsoever. Balena Etcher is doing a much better job. So about 20 minutes for this. What can we do below without a... I would go ahead and install the screen, but I know that the SD card access is right behind where the screen is on the MP5, just the way that I have it mounted. And so I need to wait until I get that SD card in there first before I can install the display. But I guess what we can do is do a few of the skirts. I don't have the fan skirts printed. I have like normal skirts printed. Not that we need fans. I mean, there aren't that many additional fan ports on the board anyway. So I could use what we already have printed and not waste the plastic. But I also need to consider like a switch in the front panel. You always struggle with Balena. RPi is more straightforward. I agree. I generally use RPi, and it has worked up to now. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing now. I've never had it do that to me, but I will use Balena as a backup if RPi Imager isn't working. So I guess we could do some skirts. We could probably put on the back and the sides, and that'll also help to get the ground put in where it needs to be. So I think we should do that. All the grandkids show up on Super Bowl, rate the goodies like it's a swarm. That's the point though, like having family over, friends over to hang out, talk trash, and it's almost like second Thanksgiving in America. Yep, those all fell out. You saw that happen. Those are the covers for the Z-axis. So 4 of them fell out. These 2 stayed. And then something else fell behind the desk. I don't know what that was. Let's see about getting some skirts on here. I need, so there's our ground. And that should go probably inside the frame somewhere. So I think I should be able to attach that to one of the skirts, like on top of the, what's it called? Give me the words. Give me the words. T-nut. Yeah, on top of the T-nut. That's what we're trying to say. I ended up reprinting a lot of these just because the original idea was that we would build with a belted Z, and belted Z would work just fine if we were doing a normal, straight up stock Trident. Belted Z does not work when you're trying to do a legacy fork. So some of the skirts needed to be reprinted. These are the original ones I made. These are just inserts, so I could pop these out, put them in the new skirts. But there are mounting positions in the backside here for your Z motor. And so that would mount here. You'd have a belt that runs your Z axis. Does not work with this because of just the geometry and the way that the gantry is installed. There's no mounting location for the idler. And so I had to redo everything. And that really sucked because I didn't have any more filament. I had ran out and exhausted the filament to the point where I did not have enough to reprint skirts. So I had to wait for that to get ordered, printed these over the week, and now we have skirts and I can just transfer these inserts over. I don't remember exactly where I got these from. I know that I found them on printables, but they just pop into all the hexagons and saves you a lot of time because you're not printing multicolor, and if you're less familiar with how to do this trick in the slicer where you can add this in the slicer, this is much easier for a lot of folks. So they just go into your hexagons like that. And they're a friction fit, so if you move your printer around and happen to grab it by the skirts, they may come out on you. But for the most part, they just go right in, no issues whatsoever. That one's a little bit loose. And if you're worried about it, you can glue them in there, I guess. There are also smaller ones for these triangles down here. And like that. So the other difference is the original skirts I printed have M3 holes here, whereas on the stock Trident skirts, it's an M5. I think. Actually, no, it's an M3. Unregard. I'm reluctant to throw those things away, though, even though they're not going to work on any project that I'm currently doing. I still want to build a Trident with a belted Z. So I'm reluctant to toss those parts, but I know that I'm not going to use them either. So are these actually the same? Yeah, they look to be the same. Same size. I think I might just be able to use the other ones that I was planning to use. The one thing that is different is the side panel, though. So this would be normally where your fan goes. You'd have a couple fans in here. That is not the case here. These are just solid, so there are no fans. How much airflow you would get with these cable raceways in the way, I'm not sure. So that's why I say I might not even add it. Good morning, Reth. I would assume a happy birthday is in order. On Monday, yeah. On Monday, a happy birthday is in order. All right, we've got our, get some skirts going as I drop it on the floor. A couple T-nuts here, get those in. Try to use my Allen tool to rotate those into place. and then press them forward. Get out of the way. All right, and then I think these are 10s. Let me check the CAD model here. 8s. They are 8s. Okay, so let's grab our 8s. And our skirt that we dropped on the floor somewhere. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's way over there. It went way under way under the rack. Because of course it did. All right, we're good though. We got it. We got it. So that would be for the rear. This one's for the front. Needs another hex insert though. So add that guy in there. We'll add that like that. So these are 8s. Oh, thanks, Digital Dragon. And happy birthday to you as well. I will be sort of MIA the next couple of weeks. We will definitely stream next week. Hopefully wrapping this thing up or getting pretty close at least. And then I will have to step away for a couple of weeks, unfortunately. Not excited about it, but we'll get as far as we can on this build. So for the members, we'll do another stream on Saturday. And then for those that became new members, make sure you're here on Saturday to catch another install on the Skelefork. We'll be back on Sunday, and then I have to basically disappear for 2 weeks after that. Thanks, Kenneth Davis. Yeah, birthdays are interesting. They're not like big deals anymore. I mean, I celebrate my kids' birthdays more than I celebrate my own. It's just another day. Maybe I'll go to Outback. Maybe I'll go to Outback for my birthday, like Penguin Makers. Yeah, these T-nuts, I need LDO specific ones. These are painful. Okay. And I think that just goes in like that. It's upside down. So we'll go this way. A little bit different. And I want to try and include this in there. I'm just not sure if I'm going to be able to or not. If not, we can add it to the inside of the frame there. I think that's probably the better choice. Oh, head's in the way. Outback sounds like a disappointing birthday. Yeah, I'm just joking. I don't know that I would ever do that. I usually get Greek food for my birthday. That's kind of my thing. It's my favorite food is Greek food. And the wife is usually really good about taking me to do that. Where's my T-nut? But I'll be gone for that day for the first time in a while, actually. So I'll have to see what they have in Florida nearby. We'll make a day of it. Just trying to keep an even gap there. I'm gonna leave that a little bit loose so we can adjust these here in a second. Where is my other one? Come out. Okay, so there's the old skirt over there. New skirt is this guy. This guy. Oh, and I had it up here. There we go. We'll do it like that. So that's the issue that I was worried about with not having the stock skirts, is that these are going to be really short. So you'll see there's a huge gap here. between this one and the actual skirts. And so I even printed another set because I thought they'd be different, and they're not. So the middle skirt does need to change. I will have to print authentic Trident skirts. And we'll just put like dummy covers in there. We'll plan to not do any fans. But yeah, I thought that might be the issue. We're going to be in Jacksonville. It'll definitely help you out. Lived there for 10 years. I don't know where Jacksonville is, actually. I'll be Fort Walton Beach. We got some good Greek food in Florida. Heck yeah. But you're over near like Orlando and Tampa and whatnot, right? I'll be way up under Alabama. Yeah, I got a buddy out there, so we're gonna hang out a little bit. You guys know him, Lego Therapy. Lego Therapy, who often pops in the chat and hangs out for a little bit. We're gonna go see Lego Therapy for a while. Greek food is awesome pastime for some souvlaki. Yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff. Like the pastry type stuff. I like the kebab. I like the cucumber salad. I like the couscous. Or sorry, what's it? Tabbouleh. Tabbouleh, I like that. But it's all pretty good. No, it's the kebab. Oh, it's the kebab is the souvlaki. Oh, you're talking yeah, okay, the ground version. Got you. Yeah, there's like different names for all that stuff depending on how Greek it is. So I guess a better term is like Middle Eastern food. Because there are different names for the same or very similar things. All right, let's get the other side going. See what that's about. Let's flip this guy around a little bit. It's heavy with that bed on there. Jeez. Very heavy. It's going to get even heavier when we start adding more components. There's some other things that we probably forgot about. Those are M5s. Those should be M3. So there's our mid and our right side. I just printed all these in pink. It'd be nice if that was purple now that I'm thinking about it, but here we are. Let's try to pull these M5s out of here. These should definitely be M3s. And because we're using non-LDO nuts, like these are difficult to get out. There it is. So that one. And this one. Like, I don't know who's texting me, but they're texting the crap out of me right now. I just hear my phone going off a lot across the room. Got it. Okay. A bundt cake. You know it's Super Bowl Sunday because Grandma makes donuts. Hey. You're more in Central. Gotcha. Okay. Meat on a stick, no matter what culture, is the bomb. Correct. Popo or Greek octopuses. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. Yeah, so what I'm doing is there's a hole in the frame here that is an access hole for the M5 that goes to this vertical upright. So what I'm doing is the little ball that's in the end of the roll-in T-nut, I'm just using that to slide that in there because these fit a little weird. And then leveling that out. And because the ball is in the access hole, it doesn't need to roll in. I can just sort of push it into place from there. And put that on there. We can line these up. Get them roughly in place. Forgot it was football day. Well, if you're not a football fan, I could see why you would forget. I didn't remember until the other day when my wife told me about it because she has to work and it's going to be football day and it's not going to be fun. It's going to be very busy. And I was like, well, you should take it up with your guidance counselor. All right, so again, just putting that loosely in place. We'll adjust the gap a little. So we have maybe, I don't know, a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, no more than a 1/2 inch. And get that a little snug down. I'd rather watch printer builds than sports bowls, ignoring the Olympics too. Man, Gergman's just a sports hater over here. But I get it. I'm teasing you. I get it. I'm not super watching the Olympics either. I'd rather watch the highlights or some of the more exciting ones. And plus, it's the Winter Olympics. Oops, too far. It's the Winter Olympics, and so unless you're into that kind of thing, it's just cold. But people like hockey and people like some of the other, like luge and bobsled and all that stuff, skiing, downhill skiing. My wife was watching figure skating the other day. And that's one I was just kind of like, I can't, I'm good. Your daughter plays travel softball, not a sports hater. I know, I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing. Female skeleton runs. I wonder why, Mike. I wonder why. Let me guess. Is Brazil your favorite team? More of a summer sport college football fan? I gotcha. I gotcha. I don't know. I tend to appreciate all sports from the fact that, you got to be pretty athletic to do some of that stuff. I can't do what most of those folks do. So I appreciate it from that standpoint. I'm just not a super watcher where I know folks' names and their stats and who is number 1 ranked and all that stuff. That's a lot. I'd rather be that way about printer builds and mods and this kind of stuff. This is more my jam. Okay, so pretty consistent gap all the way around. My tool is stuck in that one. Pretty consistent gap all the way around. Let's go to this other side here. I'm definitely gonna have to reprint the fan skirts. A little bit bummed about that. I thought I was good there. Turns out I'm not. Turns out I'm not. Okay, so we've got the one here for the forward skirt, and then one for the rear. Tease away, no apologies. You have a nephew with a D1 football scholarship? Athleticism is appreciated. Insane money's involved makes me meh. Yeah, well, I'm glad they're finally starting to pay college athletes. I mean, that was always kind of dirty to me that you're making buku bucks off this dude's brand or this girl's brand, and they're not allowed to cash in on their own name. That's BS to me. So I'm glad they're looking at changing that for a lot of folks. It just seems fair. Okay, what's the other one here? They always paid them off book. Hey, I'm talking like on book. Off book, I don't know anything about that. That sounds very sketch and possibly illegal. I don't know anything about that. But on book, yeah, they should definitely get paid. Grab a few more of these inserts and get these installed on our other skirt here. These little triangle ones, they got to go in pretty straight to be able to make the turn. I might go back and add a dab of glue to all of these. They don't seem to want to sit in there and stay. They're very loose compared to some of the other ones. And so I've got some CA glue down below I can add to that. There's that one, and we got one more, I think. Yeah, I wasn't sure how many of these I should print, so I just printed a bunch. And I'm glad I did, because had I tried to get exactly the number, I don't know that I would have been correct. So we'll do that. We'll add a bit of CA glue to the back of this. Let's move some of these tools. Stay. Yeah, you see that one already fell out. I think what I'll do is I'll press these in like that till they're flush with the back of the part. And you can see they come right out of there. And that's why we're going to glue them. Because they don't like to stay in where they're supposed to. So just like one little dab really should be enough. Is my glue clogged? All right, let's get a pick out. Glue's got a little bit of a clog. I was using it yesterday. I probably didn't clean the tip off and just put it back in the drawer, and it's a little bit much, but it'll work. So just enough to hold it on the one corner there. And we've got our kicker that we can put on there, make an instant dry. Problem is I got to do this so many other times. You're on the fence with NIL stuff? I'm not sure what that is, but it seems to be bad for all but the best 2 or 3 schools. What's NIL? That's how much I don't do sports. I don't even know what that means. Drop them on the ground. Testing durability again. Oh, my knees. Indiana was mostly transfer portal. Try PWHL, a lot more interesting. I don't even know what that is. Guys, I'm lost. Out of it. It's like if you don't speak printer to me, I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, name, image, likeness. Gotcha. Turns out you can just drive 90 if there's no cops around. Who knew? Yeah, cops ruin all the fun, don't they? Yeah, if you said NVH, noise, vibration, harshness, I would know that because that's like a car term. But I've never heard NIL. Well, I can't say never. I don't recall what that means. Okay, one more little triangle down at the bottom, and we should be good to go for install. Okay, that is that. Been hearing good things. I wonder how many of the players come from your alma mater. Troy, depends on where you went to school. Where'd you go? Why they are paid players? Professional Women's Hockey League. Ah, I didn't even know that was a thing. I knew WNBA existed. I didn't know they had their own hockey league as well. That's cool. Good for them. Hey, Kegel. Getting some skirts on while we wait for Belinda Etcher to finish up. It's nearly there. Double checking. It's in the validating stage right now. It's like 20%. So by the time we get these on, we'll probably be good to go. Pronounced, I do not recall, Senator. It's only illegal if you get caught. Yep, that's right. I do not recall. Well, I mean, that's not lying, right? It means you just don't remember. Oh, Ref, I didn't realize you were still here. I still need to print all of the clips to hold on the panels. Panels should be here tomorrow, according to tracking. West 3D had a pretty decent deal, so I was able to get panels on there, and I'm just waiting for those to come in. I thought they would be here yesterday, but no, I'm disappointed. All right, let's do the front. The front is what I'm really excited about. The front is the nicest part, in my opinion. It is lying if you do remember, yes. Ton of good college women's hockey teams. Yeah, there's a lot of good women's anything. If you're a sports fan, there's no reason not to watch the ladies compete. They are just as ruthless and play hard as the dudes. All right, so I had not wired up this switch yet. I'm not exactly sure how. I got to do some looking on it. But it's a five pin, sorry, my head's in the way. 5-pin switch here. I'm not sure what wire goes to what. I just found this in the drawer. And so I thought I would use it. There is a pigtail on it, so I can just wire this at a later date, but I don't know what is what, and I don't know how, so we'll have to figure that one out. But I can get the skirt in place, and it's even a Voron button there. So what I would like is for it to light up like all the time, and then when you press it, it just kind of stays on. I know there's a way to do that. I've Googled it before. I just don't remember. And so I need to go back. And if we get to it today, we get to it today. If not, no big deal. That's just one of those nicety type deals. Come on, you. I need a pick. Let's do this. You ordered something from Wes on the 2nd. Still not here, says the 12th. Yeah, you are across country, though. I'm just, a couple of states south. Mine should be here tomorrow. I think I made the order like Thursday. I don't really remember. Seems to take a bit of time to get things out of Oregon. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe weather. All right, I'll tell you what, let's put it in this way and rock it away like that. Okay, good. Western North Carolina. Again, it's I do not remember. It is, I do not recall that. Wrath, you're gonna get us all in trouble. Okay. That's good. We can put this one over here. And yeah, we can move things around a little bit. This over here. What do I do with my screws? Oh, I put them back because I thought I was done. West 3D can take a bit to get to things like Southeast United States. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the Southeast United States, I would probably look at Fabrico first because they ship from Florida. You might be able to get your stuff a little faster. And of course, that's assuming they have what you need. If you need something they don't have, you're going to have to just deal with the delayed shipping, unfortunately. Good morning, Bearded Printer. Hey, Andy Miller. RJ ordered the same thing at the same time, and he already has it in Florida. That's a little bit crazy. Maybe they just don't like North Carolina. Maybe you just F them the A. Beginning to think that. Come on, Screw. Why are you playing with me here? Don't necessarily blame the companies for the poor shipping times. Yeah, it's so again, yes, that's absolutely a fair point. It's not West 3D or Fabrico or KB3D or any of them that are delaying the shipping. It's whoever the carrier is. So if they're overloaded at certain times of the year or there are weather impacting delays across the country, that may impact their ability to deliver to your home. Very fair point. Where's my other one? This guy. So this one on that side. No updates since the 5th. Wow. That's not good. I would double check on that one. The only thing to look at the companies in is the time from placing the orders. Yes, correct. So if they take 5 days to pack and ship your order, that's an issue. That said, if you're doing like a configurator kit or anything, I would build in an extra couple weeks. It took about a month to get my Skelefork kit here. And then, you know, on top of that, the shipping time. So that was definitely an issue there. So just read the fine print. Huge undercover investigation in Louisville. What happened with that? UPS is horrible. Sit in the parking lot for at least a month. Jeez. So did their investigation fix the problem in Louisville? A lot of times investigation only means that they're looking at it. It doesn't mean they're going to fix anything. Okay. Sweet. I think we could do a bottom panel. Yeah. I've got one laying around somewhere. Here we go. So bottom panel is from Fabrico. This one, I believe, is smoked. So originally I had ordered a inverted electronics panel, and they sent me a bottom panel. So then I had to get sent a new one a second time. What I don't have are the clips that screw into these skirts to hold this on, but this one is a smoked panel, so we can see through it. Not that it matters on the bottom panel, but something notable at least. Let's see if I can show this off a little bit. Yeah, you can see smoked. UPS is horribly calling for support. Both of yours are UPS. Retired all their MD-50s. Well, those are pretty old airplanes, so I understand. It involved 2 state senators. Oh, Lord. That's going to take a while. Had to cancel an order shipping from Texas after 3 weeks. Mr. Killer, whoop whoop on you are on YouTube. Yes, I'm on YouTube. On YouTube every Sunday, 0730 Pacific time. Direct from YouTube straight to your heart. All right, there are M5s in here for our screen mount. Like I said, I need to be able to access the SD card. You might be able to see it in there. The board is mounted right here. I've got direct access to the SD port right there, and then the larger SD over here as well. There are HDMI and USB-C and Ethernet, USB-A, all right in this area. So anytime I need to get in there to do that, I'm going to probably have to remove the screen. And for the screen, if you guys have not seen it, we're going to go old school. Again, this is a legacy fork. The idea is to keep it a little bit retro. And so this is the mount. We're going to use the 12864 display that fits in there just fine for what we need. And we'll get that installed later. We don't need it to run Clipper right now. You blame me for clogging up? What? Why me? You don't know what I order and what I don't. Kegel's just a hater. Kegel's just mad that he didn't order first. All right, I do have the back panel. So this is the one from Steve Build's repo. It's a mod with an angle here for your PTFE tube. And then at the back, it just uses a simple screw with a heat insert to squinch down on your PTFE tube just a little bit to keep it from moving. If you want this, you can find it on his GitHub page. It's pretty stock, just the one modification here. So even the stock beauty panel, for lack of a better term, will fit on here. I just printed this in 2 different colors. We could probably get that on as well. That will allow us to have a PTFE tube. So, because I don't have bottom clips, we're going to forego connecting that. Let's get this back over. That down. Figure out this wire button probably. And we'll see. One of my things already filled out. Oh, we'll have to probably glue those in as well. Whatever. Was that hair? Okay. So that's good there. We've got our wires in. Let's turn this around and get this upper, what should be exhaust on here. But I don't want to run an exhaust because I don't like it. All right, so in These are going to be M5s. These, there we go. Need a little bit of wiggle and they'll go in the right place. I'm intentionally putting the hole on this to the outside of the frame just so that the meaty part of the T-nut doesn't stick out of the side of this. I think it would cover regardless, but it's just my habit pattern to do that, to try and hide that extra bit of T-nut. On certain smaller parts, it'll stick out the side of it and it just becomes an eyesore, in my opinion. I'm gonna bring out some 8s here. I think 8s are gonna be fine. If not, we'll grab some 10s. But I don't want it to bottom on the frame. So I get just enough sticking out of there with an 8. You probably see that. There it goes. Just enough sticking out of there with an 8. So I'm gonna use 8s. There are a ton of different mods out there for different versions of this that you could use. Different filters you could use, all sorts of things. So take a look around before you make a decision and pick the one that best fits what you want to do. I know some folks do CAN bus and things like that. And so there are versions with CAN bus ports on here, all sorts of things. There's a thing called a fanny pack that is a larger filter area, and then two 15 fans that bring air in from the chamber, sends it up through carbon and then back out of this port here into the chamber. And so it's sort of a recirculation fan, but also a filter at the same time. That's a favorite of mine. I just don't want to do that here. It's a little too fancy for what we're doing. So just trying to get that centered. I'm not going to fully tighten that down because we still need that back panel to go on here, and I don't have it yet. So as soon as that comes in, we'll be good to go. How do we only have 30 likes and 60 people? Yeah, I see that. We got 56 folks on right now. That's what I'm seeing. But yeah, folks, help us out. Like the like button. All right, that's good. We're good here. Things are connected. Let's clean up some of the wiring underneath. And I believe our Lena Etcher thing is good to go. Let's see. Are we done? 92%. We got about 90 seconds for being done. You never remember. Hey, Reverend, thanks. Liz got hers. Button is broken? I don't think so. People watching it on 2 computers. There you go. People watching on 2 computers. Hit it twice. The area where that crash happened is not back to normal. Very sad scene. Yikes. Yeah, just like normal, we're going to run Calico on this. That is my preferred fork of Clipper. For a lot of reasons. There are extras on there. Thanks, Kenneth Davis. There are extras in Calico that you don't have in mainline Clipper, and we're definitely going to maximize that. So it's also a little easier to set up with sensorless homing if you are a sensorless homing type person. And the way that, so it doesn't use PID tuning. You have the option to do what they call MPC tuning for your hot end as well, which gets you a little bit better heat soak and things like that. It's a little bit more accurate way of getting your temperature for your hot end. And so I also prefer that. There are some pressure advanced tools in there, a lot of different features. So I prefer Calico, and that's what we're gonna do. 5 seconds to go. Come on, baby, you can do it. Yay. Oh, something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong, but if it is a compressed image, please check the archive is not corrupted. The writer process. Huh. Well, let me check that out. Yeah, Rutro. I mean, it's an XYZ image. I don't know why it would not. It's the one that we downloaded this morning, literally this morning. Bad SD. So this is the second SD card I've tried. So the first one I tried this morning was no go. It just wouldn't get past 1%, but I was using RPi Imager. And this one is a smaller SD card, also new. And it got started at least, it just didn't finish. So what I did is I went to, let's see, the CB2 release, and they have a few options with Obico or not. And so I took this one here, this without Obico, XZ. Maybe I should just pull off this minimal kernel without all the extra stuff. Jesse's Tea House. So as soon as that gets done, I'll try that one. All right, let's pull this in. That one there. Yeah, so it's the minimal kernel. You should do Calico at some time. Things are just kind of stable in your system. Yeah, so if you don't want to deal with it, don't deal with it. You're going to have to... So it's easy to swap, right? It's just a command line in the Linux window. Just a copy and paste kind of deal to switch over. That doesn't mean you're going to be like completely out of the woods. There may be some changes that you have to make here and there. So if things are working fine, there's no reason to do it, unless you want to play around. Extract the XYZ to a GZ. Okay. Let me try that real quick. So it's an XZ, not a XYZ. Does that matter? I mean, it is extractable. XZ is compression format. Okay. So I should have extracted this before, and that's why it's not doing it. Do a backup and then give it a try. Yeah. Windows should be able to extract the XYZ. Yeah, tracking. It's going right now in the background. I'm just waiting for it to be done. But yeah, Wix Central's right. If you're gonna switch over to Calico, do a backup of all your things, and that way, if you get stuck, you can just revert back and not have to be down. 7-zip to extract if Windows gets weird. Copy. Yeah, right now it seems to be going. It looks like it just finished. Yeah. So let's try it now. Flash from file. Here, this, open. Target. Plug a target drive. What? We already did that. Let me unplug this and replug that. Definitely don't want to do that. It's not reading the card now. From the XZ as the image is the actual image. Got it. Yeah, now it's not reading my SD card. I don't know why. I didn't change anything. It's the same card that we were using a minute ago. Let's give it a minute to read that. Yeah, it's not showing up. Okay, there it goes. Just popped up in a different window. So maybe it's, there it is. All right, let's try that. And flash. Maybe that's why it was taking so long too. It took like 30 minutes for that thing to try to flash the first time. I guess in the meantime, let's get smart on how to wire up this switch. So let's look for 5-pin momentary push button switch. And we'll go to images and we can look at how to wire this thing. So this is a pretty decent picture. LED lights on, off. What? Oh, there are different ways to wire it depending on what you want it to do. So if I want the LED light off when the printer is off, then I wire this way, and then on when the printer is on, I would wire. Say, okay, cool. So what I don't know is the voltage of this thing. I don't know if it is capable of 24 or if it's a 110. Let me pull this out of here. Dude, we might have to take the skirt off. So let's lean this back. Let's pull this skirt. Let's see about wiring this switch. Just need to know what voltage it can take. Probably should have looked at that first, but I didn't. I thought we were going to be doing firmware right now. I didn't think we'd be doing switches. We're just trying to stay busy. Okay. How would I know? Okay, so it looks like 110, 220 volt. You can see that written on there. Focus. This camera. I feel like the new version 3 of the OBSBot is out, and so they're creating issues with this version, so you have to upgrade. That's my conspiracy theory for today. But you can see on there it's written 110 to 220. So we can actually switch the voltage of the power supply altogether. That might be the switch rating, not the LED. Yeah, so the LED might be something else. And I don't know what the LED is. The LED might be only 5 volt. It doesn't say on here. But the switch itself, that's the important one. Like, if we blow out the LED, who cares, right? The switch should still work. It just will be less ideal. LED is probably 5 to 24. I agree. I agree. I don't even know where I got this. So I wish things were labeled better so that you would be able to tell. DC, yeah. Stepped away. What is the question about the switch? The question is, what voltage is the LED? So the switch is rated for 110 to 220, so we can switch the power supply itself. That's kind of written on here. But there's no writing for what voltage the LED is. We're assuming it's 5 volt, but I don't know. Voltage on the LED doesn't matter. All it needs is the right current limiting resistor. You get a bunch of those style buttons used for gaming button boxes. Cool. Well, I mean, I think it does matter though, right? Like I need to know what goes where. And looking down inside the thing, the connection doesn't tell me anything. I just know that it matches the picture that I'm looking at right now when it is connected. And so the this upper button here, this one is a black wire where the LED positive is. It's connected to a black wire. And then your LED negative wire is red, which seems like it's backwards. I don't know if I could depin this. Should be able to, right? Let's try to depin something. Do not think the battery will fit on the printer, and they do even make those light bulbs anymore. I was thinking to myself, like, what are you talking about? What battery? What battery are you talking about? No, I think I just want to come in here and like depin this. I mean, everything else makes sense. Like red and black here, these are going to be for LED according to the diagram we were just looking at. And then I'm left with white, green, and yellow. White appears to go to... So white looks like positive. Sorry, yellow is positive. The one in the middle doesn't have anything. Or sorry, this goes to LED positive, so that goes with the black. And then this one over here is just a random ground. The yellow, according to the diagram, goes to the red. Like these are all connected. So black and white, and then red and yellow go together. According to this diagram, I don't know. White will be common. What is the part number? You'll find out. It doesn't really have a part number. Not that I can see. There's nothing molded onto it. The switch itself, part number, it's also not a part number on here. But it's a push button LED switch. Let's see if we can find it. Again, this is just a side quest at this point. So I think I might have gotten it from here. Let's look for a Voron push button. Maybe I didn't get it from here. Did it come from DFH? Yeah, here we go. So the Voron push button, like that. 24-volt capable. Just run a wire between the power supply and the switch. No hacks required, just a Wago or similar. Oh, here we go. There's a diagram on here. Duh. Look at that. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like 3 of them are hooked up all together on the same thing. The LED light on and off is controlled by the button, and the power is cut off under normal load, and the power is on after pressing the button. Yes, that's what I want. And these don't expand, they don't get bigger, the photos. Not 110 volt. Yeah, like that, 24 volt. Actually, no, the common on the ones you have are on the end. What? I'm so lost. I'm so lost, guys. But the current says 3 to 24 volts / 220 volt 2 amp. Like, what does that even mean? And then when you look at the voltage line, 3, 6, 12, 24, 36, 48, 110, 220, like, what are we even doing? It's not a 110 volt switch. It is for breaking 24. Pulled up a diagram after you're looking at the button you have. Yeah. So this is it here, but there's like no information. You can check continuity between the switch pins. That's probably a good idea. This is the stuff I'm not great at. So we're going to learn together today. Let's do what Rhett said and see if we can check some continuity between pins. Let me grab the multimeter. And it's almost giveaway time anyway. So this may be a side quest for after stream. But we can play around a little bit. Picture does say 220. Yeah, like it says all kinds of things. There's so much information on it that it's not clear what I should do. DFH, so the site we're looking at here, dfh.com, or sorry, dfh.fm. And there's a diagram, but it's kind of cut off because it doesn't zoom well. There we go. So looking at this, we should probably do this upper number 2 version here. So connect to normally open pin, NO. LED light is always on, which is great. It tells me like what I should be connecting and how and whatnot. But what I don't know is the voltage. Is it a 24 volt switch or is it not? Because the switch itself is labeled 110 220 volt WZ. I guess, I mean, switching the 24 is not going to hurt anything. It's the lower of the two, so it's probably going to be fine. So we're going to play around a little bit and see what the continuity does. All right, so tell me if you can hear it. I think that's audible, yes. Let me move this down a little bit for you guys. 24 volt on the LED. Yeah, that's what I'm tracking. What? It is a 110 volt on the switch. Yeah, like right here. It's written on there. It says 110 220 on there. Stick it in the wall socket. If it pops, it's 24. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll just connect to 24 first because that should not pop it. And then if it doesn't work there, maybe it matters elsewhere. But I have a hard time believing that this is supposed to be switching 110. That's a very small switch. I'm just not confident in what I'm saying. This will be the first one I've done. So that one, no continuity across the middle. No continuity across any of the pins. So if we press it, no continuity anywhere. Yeah, there's no continuity on the switch at all. Oh, there it goes. Only on itself. And if I push it on, continuity on itself, nowhere else. So then how do I know it works? Could be a power switch, which means the LED will likely only turn on at 110, but can only handle less than 0.2 amps. Can't handle a 200 watt PSU. Yeah, so it sounds like we just need to skip installing this because we're not even sure what the hell it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think this is a TBD kind of deal. Let's give away some filament. I got to figure this out before I blow stuff up. If you guys aren't in the filament giveaway, you need to get into the description, get signed up on the form, because we're going to pull names here in just a few minutes. It's going to be US only for those that are going to inevitably ask. That's not a me restriction. That's a Jason at LDO restriction based on how much they're able to. Yeah, it is US only salty day. Sorry. That's because of shipping. Good follow-up topic, short video. And don't knock it. You are correct. We'll have to, excuse me, we'll have to come back to that at a later date. So let me get all your names over here. Fun stream so far. Thanks. Yeah, sorry we could not accommodate your request, though. I wish it could be worldwide, but LDO is not able to support that at this time. So we're here. Let me see how many folks are in. 43 people signed up for the filament giveaway. You have about 10 seconds to get in there before I close this thing. 44 people. Looks like the 3 vertical will switch your 110 and the 2 horizontal are connected to the LED so they can go to your PSU. Lord Gitface, I agree. I agree. It just shows in all the things that I'm seeing, it shows them connected to one or the other. And so I'm not exactly sure what goes where. Trying to get the Solval Eddy working with Eddy NG. Good luck with that. I hear Eddy NG is a lot better and makes the Eddy actually usable, but I've not personally tried it. The amp rating makes no sense. I agree. Usually DC amp ratings are lower because it arcs more. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need a different switch. Yeah, I'll update you guys if and when we figure it out. I may just say screw it. 46 responses. Okay, we're closing the giveaway. When you win the filament, you'll be able to hand deliver? No. Because your info is going to go to Jason, and he's going to mail it to you. But I do want to come up and see you soon before I leave, though. I don't know when, and I can't really tell you when, because I don't know. All right, let me pull your responses over. The giveaway is closed. That's more for if you are switching the voltage. That's the same as the LED to minimize wiring. Oh, okay. Cool. I'm seeing all 43 of you. Let me pull your names down and open up some wheel of names. Kegel Luxpin. Kegel Luxpin is the last person to make it in. Use the switch on your 2.4, but you only use the 110 side. Palms, if you have a picture or photo of how you wired that, I'd appreciate it. Just drop it in the Discord stream chat or wherever makes sense. That would help out a lot. All right, these are from last week, so we'll delete those out and add in our new names here. Cool. How many times are we spinning it, folks? I like the wheel. So like each week as the channel starts to grow a little bit more each week, I'm seeing like more and more and more names on the wheel. That makes me excited. Take a pick when you can. Yeah, I appreciate it. 69. Mike, you don't get to say 69 because of your skeleton comment from earlier. Almighty Malachi says 12. Seeing 5. 7 from Cybertech. 27. LTX Designs is back. Hey, man, are you cutting panels yet again? I need panels. Andy Miller says 13. Spice Core. Seeing a lot of 7s. Kegel Luxpin says 17. I think 13 is good. Today's the 8th, though. Charmingly Camara says 8th. I know that's where that number comes from. I think we do 13. I like 13 for some reason. And spin. Good luck, everybody. Looks like Howie might take it home this week. Howie, are you here? Almost back. Get all the power ran. Dust collection hung. Gonna be plumbing dust collection next week. Nice. Does your form say that the name has to be an exact match? I don't think it says that. It probably should, but I don't think it says that. I think it just says, like, what is your YouTube name? Howie, are you here? You've got about 55 seconds. There he is. Hey, Howie, you know how this works. Jason's going to reach out to you and get your address and stuff like that because I don't want to be responsible. If you don't hear anything from the team over at LDO in the next couple of days, it means that I forgot. So please just DM me on Discord. I'll get you taken care of. Congratulations to you and thanks for LDO for setting up the filament giveaway each and every week here on the Killer Prince channel. Congratulations, Howie. Breath, I don't think you need any more filament now that I think about it. What I might do to put this switch situation to bed is just jump onto DigiKey and order something like this that's actually rated for 24 volt and go that route. But this is a cool picture. This is more like what I'm looking at. This matches a little better for what I'm seeing. So sounds like a lot of YouTube watching in my future. Getting some of that LDO gray for some skirts. Heck yeah. Okay. That's research for another time. This should be done. Where are we at on balloon etcher? We can skip validation, yeah? We should be good to go. Let's try it out. Let's remove that. Put that back in there. I found out how much filament you have. I kind of need to win some to justify anymore. Do you see? Do you see what's going on behind me over here? Look. This is like a third. This is only a third of what I've got. There are, I think there are like anywhere from 77 to 80 spools of filament on here. There's about as much up there on rep racks. And then there's a matching one of these over there. Oh, and there's like 2 bins, like plastic totes of different filament back that way too. So yeah, I am completely cut off from doing any more. And rightly so. I can't be mad about that. I've been very lucky. Reth, got it. Saw it a minute ago. Thank you very much. I'll check it out after stream and try to get smart on what's going on. 130? Oh, dude, I'm like over 200 easily. Easily. Trying to get it. Put that switch info in your Discord. If it's 120 volt, you can drop a relay setup. Yeah, so Howie, I appreciate that. What I don't have is room for like extra components though. Like if we're gonna do relays and stuff, they gotta be pretty small, like Oreo sized, based on the space that I have left in the bottom of the thing. So if we don't have to do a switch, we don't have to do a switch. Printers work perfectly fine without a switch on the front. I just like it because everything sits on a rack and it's difficult to reach around the back of the machine to power on and off at the inlet. And so having a switch on the front is just convenience. Have a good one, Andy. Thanks for hanging out. Your filament amount are rookie rookie numbers. Yes, they are. I just don't have I don't have that much. Cool. Let me share this window with you all. And let's go back over here. Let me add a window capture for, let's see. This is what I'm looking at. So this is our folder, and what I need to do is jump in here and grab the system file, and that's going to open up in Notepad++, which I also don't have on here. So, oh, and of course it needs to update because I haven't used it in so long. So we'll turn that one off. We can turn off Balena Etcher as well. And we'll add in Notepad++. There we go. So there's my Notepad++. Filament. Shaggy, you forgot to enter the giveaway. I guess you're going to have to come back next week. Come back next week, same bat channel, same bat time. All right, I'm not going to change too much in here. I normally don't. The host name is fine with me, but if you wanted to change it, you can adjust it here to whatever you want it to be. I'm not using HDMI, so we can skip that. The one that you want to worry about is this area right here that talks about Wi-Fi. And depending on what you're using for a display, you may or may not need to adjust these parameters down here, turning them on or off. I don't need you guys looking at my password stuff, so we'll turn that one off. I'll adjust this, and we'll get to work here. So let's see. That's cool. And make sure you save, close, and then I always like to refresh the SD card, and then eject. So should be good now. Pull that out of there, and we can do this guy. We all know you're Killer Rocks 85. You got the number wrong. 85 is never the right number. So I got this cool little Gigastone, they call it a TF card reader, but it's a USB-A on one end, and then there's a USB-C on the other. And your SD card, just if you don't drop it like I did, your SD card just slides in right there. It's a little slot like that. So this is like my favorite one. The other option is use the giant one that I got with my Creality way back in the day. Normal USB stick looking one, but it's got a large full-size SD card here with a micro down below. So another option. And we said the port is just under where the display is. So you can see the Ethernet jack right there. So your SD port is right there. I think it goes on top like that. I don't remember from the manual. SoC card, that's what that looks like. I think the bigger one is for the full-size port. I think is for your G-code files and things like that. So that is probably your MCU, what they call the MCU card. And then you have an SoC card. That is your system on chip. And so that would be your Pi or your CM4 or your CB2, whatever you have installed on the Manta there. I think it's time to power this on and see if this thing actually boots and doesn't burn down. And if we get a good power on, we could start to maybe do some config, but we're definitely not going to get there today. We've got to wrap the stream here in just a little bit. Let me find a power cord, get you a good view on the printer itself. Excuse me. So there is that. And I had a power cord yesterday. What did I do with it? There we go. So power cord. Hope this is long enough. Ooh, that's not long enough. That's got to go all the way around the printer. So on the Trident, I forgot that the power switch is on this left side. So let me grab a longer one. Got a really long one here. And just in case, I've got a 10-foot cord somewhere. All right, so on the left side, let's take the angle off. It is switched to O, which means off. And so let's just keep an eye out. If you guys see any sparks, let me know. 3, 2, 1. Nothing yet. Okay, here we go. Power coming on. 3, 2, 1. Success? Question mark? I see a light on the board. There it goes, starting to come alive. No magic smoke, how sad. Ah, get out of here, hater. No, I definitely am one of those folks that double, triple, like I get super worried every time about wiring. I'm like super particular about it. I will triple check every little thing to make sure. Luckily, the only time I've ever had anything go wrong is on the switch side itself. I had the, I think I had the live and the neutral swapped on the switch portion of the inlet, and it blew the fuse inside the switch itself. That's the only thing that I've had up to this point. Knock on wood for sure. But that's the worst that I've had. So it is flashing in there. Lights are on. Things are talking. Let's see if we can log into this. I need Mob Xterm. We could turn off our PDF by now, I believe. Let's try that. Let's turn this off. And we need that window. What'd you say? I want to see those pixies at least once. I'm sure you have enough machines that you can make pixies happen anytime you want to. There we go. So we'll kind of move this to a spot that makes sense. Make it a little bit larger for you all. Okay. Have no idea what the IP is for this thing. And so I need to find that real quick. And so you can use a bunch of different scanning tools to look at that. I'm going to use Angry IP Scanner. In fairness, you can release them on your own. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Reth has all the way to do it. You tried, the pixies will not show themselves to you. I'm not seeing anything yet. Should be called Big Tree Tech. Seeing a lot of devices, just not the one I want. Seen enough for all of us. Oh, sorry. Yeah, once is enough, for sure. Once is expensive enough. Like the PSU in this thing is what, like 70 bucks? The main board about the same. So you'd beat out at least 100 and a half blowing stuff up. And then hopefully that doesn't get to your tool head board. We're not finding this on the network. So either I typed in something incorrectly or It's still not booted. Okay, so let's power off and pull the SD card. And I'm thinking about that correctly, right? Like the SoC port is the port. It's not the large other one, right? For those in the know. Because MOBA X term is not working out for us. Pixies can be fun when you release them into someone else who is being non-compliant. I am complying. Yeah, be cautious of voltage with unprotected USB devices too. Don't ask. I won't. At least the Nighthawk has that daughter board. So that would just be connected to 24 volt there. All right, let me check this system file. Oh, you know what I did? I didn't uncomment the Wi-Fi stuff. I typed it in there, but I didn't remove the hashtags in front, so it wasn't reading it. Idiot. All right, we'll save that. That's an easy fix. Eject. All right, let's try this once again. Don't be like me. Learn from me. Learn from my mistakes. All right. Got the needle nose out for this SD card. It's just in there to where my hand doesn't like to reach all the way, but easy. Here we go. Power back on. I think the cool thing, and probably a bad thing, is that because you have that extra daughter board in there for the Nighthawk, that I would hope it would get absorbed into that if you made a mistake. But as far as I know, you can't buy it separately either. So if you ruin the daughter board, you have to buy the entire kit again. You can't just get the one. All right, let's run this IP scanner once more and see if we can find something. 110 volt tickles, 220 hertz, 48 volt is deadly. I don't know about tickles. I'm not trying to find out either. There she is. Came right up this time. We're on 73. So we'll do session, SSH. It's going to be VQ. Okay. And accept. We're in. Yahtzee. Fantastic. Daughter board has a fuse on it. Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so we're in. First thing I like to do is put Kiao on here right away. It just makes things a lot easier, especially when you're swapping between standard clipper and Calico, like I like to do. And so to do that, let's hide this window a little bit. Come over here and just type in Kiao. And follow along. So let's bring this over here so I can see what's going on. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You got to flash your SD card. We've already done all that today. And just start right here with step one. They have a little cool copy button. And once you copy things over, and we're just going to be doing that, copy and paste with right click. It's going to ask you for your password, put that in there, and it'll start going. It's pulling all your updates down, updating anything that may be behind the scenes that you need to be able to run the program itself. And so as that goes, we'll get the next bit ready. It's usually pretty fast. I've not had it go too terribly long. This is the biggest part of it, though, is when you're trying to update Git and all that stuff. It takes a little while. The other one I find that takes a while is Clipper screen. So if you're using an HDMI display or one of those wave share displays, Clipper screen usually takes a little while to update. This one's just about done. So I know I said I was going to go to 10:30, but I can taste the progress. So I think I'm going to push it a little bit, see if I get in trouble, but try to be done by 11. So we got about 30-ish minutes. We'll see how far we get in the 30 minutes for those folks that are hanging out. I know I'm still seeing about 37 people here. So we'll give you guys a little bang for your buck today. I believe the stream should push you over to Steve Builds right after this as well. So for those that are hanging out with me and checking out Steve Builds at the same time, I appreciate you. But this should push you directly over there. And I'm just double checking that it will. Hold on. So that. Activity not here. Sorry, Sissy Kid, I did see your question there. I'll answer you here in 1 second. Yeah, so this is going to push you over to Steve right after. You're asking about Kiao will support Calico. Yeah, so we're going to walk through it right now. You can change the settings in Calico to pull a different GitHub source. So whether it's, oh, sorry, not Calico, Kiao. So in Kiao, you can change the setting to pull whatever fork of Clipper you would like. I'm choosing Calico, but if there's a different fork of Clipper that you would want to use, say you have your own fork that you like that is already set up with all the features that you want, you can direct it to pull from there instead. And so before we log into the main interface and all that stuff, I'm going to get this set up for Calico. Don't anger your in-home Pixie. No, it should be fine. She's on her way to work. I just want to spend a little bit of time before we do that. And we like to have a warm handover with the kids. So try not to leave them at home by themselves without supervision too long. But I got a 16-year-old, she'll be fine. Cool, so that process is done. Next one, copy and paste, good to go. So that's gonna bring in the Kiao. It says that it's already there. Let's see. The last one is to run the script. So we'll do that. It says, do you want to update? Yes, I do. It's going to bring in the newest version. If you're starting from scratch like I am, it's pretty easy just to update things while you're already here. Press the up arrow. It's going to bring you back to the last one, and that'll get you right back into the script. So here's what Sissy Kid was asking about. They were asking about how to get to Calico from here. Well, if you go into your settings with the S, you can see that number one is a switch the source. And so what we need to do is go to the Calico page right now, and it'll walk you through how to set it up so that you can switch easily within Kiao. So for right now, I'm going to turn this off, bring you over here, and we're going to go to Calico. I want the GitHub version of it, not the GG version. But it'll take us to there, and then you can go to the Git from the upper right corner. There are instructions down here on how to make it happen. So switch to Calico, right? This is your instructions right there. So option one, you could do it manually by just typing in everything into your command line. I prefer to do option two, which is using Kiao. And so it's pretty simple. We're just changing the back-end side of it. So copy that one, bring up MobaXterm again. And I'm just going to copy and paste down the list. Okay, so to do that, we need to exit Kiao, the program. So Q on that brings us back to the home, and then CD Kiao. So that's taking us to the folder, and then we're going to do copy default Kiao config, naming it Kiao config. Okay, and then it'll be nano, which is going to let us edit the file named kiao.config. And then it's going to bring this up here. And so you can see that in the setting that we saw a minute ago, option 1 was telling us that our main Clipper repository is this guy here. It's easy to add another by just down arrowing to where you want to be. And I'm going to keep it normal. I like to use the Bleeding Edge version 2. So on the GitHub page, you can copy that, come over to your editor, right click. Ah, geez, come on. I think I highlighted that and it copied it, right? So come over here, we'll highlight the thing once again. Right click, copy, and then right click here, and it's gonna paste that in there. So once I have that in there, and you can do as many as you would like, whatever you put over here is going to show up in your list of available repos to switch to. All right, so once we do that, we can do Control X, Y, enter to save. Now it's available for us to choose. And so I'll just do a CD to go home, and then the up arrow till I get back to my shell script. Bring us right back into Kiao. We can hit S for settings, and now I should see that I have an available repo to switch to by pressing number 1. And I can see now that my repos available are 2. All right. For this, I can just select number 2 because I want the Calico repo. And it's going to go through a bunch of switching. It's going to back up things, move it around, all that kind of stuff. It's going to name it Clipper Old if you're ever looking for it. But right now, it's going to bring in all the stuff from the GitHub page. All the instructions that I just walked through are on the Calico GitHub. I recommend you go over there and kind of read through that. And then try it out if you want to try it out. So Sissy Kid, does that make sense? Do you need any other explainers? Do you have any questions? Yeah, this is the part that usually takes a little bit. No questions. Okay. Well, I think we're so close. I just want to keep going. But I know I'm not going to be able to get away with that. One thing I haven't done either is LEDs. Excellent. Very nice. Good. I'm glad it made sense to you. All right. So we've cloned that repo. It's all coming in. And it should go pretty quickly from here. It's just that initial backup portion that takes a little bit. No, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. And if you get stuck and you need help, just reach out. I'll try to guide you. It's really not that hard, though. But yeah, we still have LEDs that got to go in. I have the 3-pin connection already up on the frame. You might have caught that briefly as I was moving the printer around. And so both of those can get installed and then just wired back. And then we'll have to run another cable down into the electronics bay to be able to connect that. There's one RGB port on the board, and I'm going to use it for all of those LEDs. So in the meantime, while this is going, I think I'll get started on doing that. Let's see if I can do two things at once. And yeah, so right back up here in the corner of the frame, just out of frame of the camera. Let me see if I can move this. See if it'll capture. Yeah, right there. Right there, we've had this mounted the whole time. I had to make a little insulating bracket that goes on the back side of the PCB so we didn't short anything. That took a couple of iterations because I didn't measure very well. But trial and error, it eventually worked. But the idea is we'll have a 3-pin connection on this lower port. This will go down through the frame and then under here over to our board. The other two are for the 2 LED strips that I have. Both are right here. I wish they were 2-pin, but that only gets me white light. 3-pin will allow us to have all the lights. So I've got these here that are disco on a stick. So not only do I get white light, but I'll have all the other colors as well. What I'm not sure about is whether or not I printed the brackets that hold these here. These LED strips are pretty common now, so there are a ton of different brackets and ways to mount this onto your frame. Something that works pretty well are, what did I do with them? Are just these little 45-degree brackets that you can use. Here we go. That you can use like this. So these are just little brackets that have a heat insert here to mount your light strip to, and then a hole with an M3 that mount this to the frame. So they just go like so. This is a 30-30 nut. So I pulled this off of my other printer, but it'll just mount like that on the inside of the frame, and then it'll give you a perfect angle to have all of your lighting. Sounds like you're being greedy, trying to all the lights, leave some lights for the rest of us. I like a lot of lights, especially with a printer like this. We're going a little silly anyway, so let's do some silly lighting on it. These came from Bounty 3D. Bounty 3D. But disco sticks kind of come and go in stock. Like, they're very popular, so they don't stay around for very long. You might have to search around to find a set that's available. In the process of adding a 3rd tool head to your stealth changer, we'll more than likely switch to calico once 3 tools are relatively happy. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. All right, so that's for a different time. We need to make that happen eventually here. Back over to our MOBA X term though. So we finished up. Things are switched over, and then once you go back, you'll see that your current repo is Calico Bleeding Edge V2. Recommend you do an auto backup before update. That's this option down here at the bottom. So we'll just enable that. And that way, anytime you're updating in the future, you're gonna have a backup to revert to. We don't have anything that I've changed that I really care about, and so we did not back up on the first go. But now we should be able to pull everything in. So just on the main screen, you can see that we have Calico installed. Moonraker is already here. Mainsail is installed. That's based on the image that we originally flashed. I prefer fluid though. So what I'm going to do is remove mainsail. We're going to do everything. Continue. It's going to back up and then remove everything. That was pretty quick because we did no configs. Now we can do install. So number 1, we can install number 4 for fluid. And yes, we want the recommended config. Sure, default. Headed to my goddaughter's birthday. Have a good time, Kegel. Happy birthday to your goddaughter. We're just about wrapped up here as well. All right, so we have Calico, we have Moonraker, we have Fluid, Clipper Screen's on there, Crow's Nest is on there, and we have the Fluid client. We should be good to go. Let's go and hide this one. Let's go into our browser. Sorry, I got to type it correctly. There we go. And Yahtzee. We've got a printer that has mainsail and, oh, sorry, not mainsail, clipper and fluid. We just don't have a config for it. Well, that's pretty easy. We'll come over to the config section. This is the printer config that is normal, I guess. I'm not doing this Obico stuff. We can take that out of there. And I don't have a Big Tree Tech config either, so we can remove this guy. What I do have is a M5P. And so what I can do is just go to their wiki, and we can select our M5P. And on the right-hand side, for software config, it gives us the link for where we need to go. It's not the right one. We need clipper config. So that's usually down here somewhere. Official group. Maybe this one. No? I swear they would have this on their page. All right, fine. We'll just go to their GitHub then. So user manual. There we go. Firmware clipper. You can find your Manta config here. So we'll download this. So you can click that, and then you can get the raw file by just clicking raw. Control C. Come to where you want to be, Control V. All right, that's not it. A, C, and V. There we go. We have a base. And from here, we're going to have to build out all the things that we want based on the machine that we have configured. We'll do that, cut that out of there, and I like to organize mine in a certain way, and so that's all I'm doing is moving some stuff around. To be able to flash the board, there's a bunch of other information up here. We'll have to do that eventually. Okay, X and Y should be whatever they are. Z is fine, but we need a Z2 and a Z3. Sorry, a Z1 and a Z2. So usually when you scroll to the bottom of this, you'll have additional information for that, but I'm not seeing it. So we may need to just make our own. Pretty easy to do. You just copy the first few pins here. No in stop. So those, and then enter, get it in there, and then you just add in here Z1 and Z2. All the pins are going to have to change, so we're just going to delete these out of here. Like so. And then you have to cross-reference with the manual. So whatever the pin out is, probably this guy. Should be a diagram. Not that one, not that one, this one here. This pinout diagram is what we're gonna have to use to get all of our motor information. So if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see motor 1 through 5 with all your enable, step, dir, ground, and CS pins. And so I know that motor 1 and 2 are gonna be my, just double checking I am thinking of this in the right way. So yeah, it's my board is upside down and backwards. So motor 1 and 2 are 2240s. Those are for our B and A motors. And so motor 1 says 15, 8, 9. And the cool thing about new Chrome is that we can add this tab to the split view with our fluid config here. And so we can make changes live as we go. Oh, we lost the manual. Here we go. Let's do it that way. And then we can zoom in on this side over here. Sweet. And so I know that X is going to be 8. And then we've got PC9 for my dir, that double checks. And then PA15 for the enable pin. Doing Y should be 10. My dir pin is 14. And then 13 for the enable. Checks good there. Stepper Z is my Z motor. And that should be, looks like step pin is PC6, 7 for the dir, and then 9 for enable. For my Z1, this is where we make our first change. This is motor 4. This should be for my step pin. Looks like PB12. And then for dir, I've got PB11. And then for my enable pin, PA8. Do the same down here for Z2. You feel robbed? The skewers from Outback came with the stick. Oh, without the sticks? So not much of a skewer then, more like just cubed chicken or whatever the hell it was. Step pin for this guy is going to be PB0. And then we have PB1. And then for our enable pin, that's going to be a PC4. Sweet. Micro steps of 16 on the Z will give us the most torque. You could step it to 32 if you really wanted to, but I prefer to do 32 up on my X and Y motors to get a little bit more micro stepping, a little more better resolution. But on Z, 16 seems to be okay, especially since it's holding up the heavy bed. A little more torque is not a bad thing. Cool. So we don't necessarily have in-stop pins and stuff like that for our Z1 and 2. That's going to be associated to the Z0. So we'll leave those up there for that. Extruder is going to be slightly different because we are using the Nighthawk, so we'll have to come in here and change some stuff. You never want a printer build to be disappointing like how. Yes. Yes. Okay. I'm not using a sensor max, so we can get rid of that information. Extruder 1, I'm also not using that. That would have been taken up by Z2 here. So this is going away. Heater pins are fine. Watermark, we're not going to do watermark. We're going to use PID for the bed. And then our fan port for PA1, that's going to be whatever you choose for your hot end fan. So the stock config assumes that your hot end is directly wired to the main board. We're using the Nighthawk. So this is an open fan pin for us. PA4 on the schematic over here. It dropped away. PA4 over here is, where'd it go? Is fan 0. So I like to come in here and just add in a little comment to tell me what this is. It's going to be fan 0. And then, so like this one, right? These are already labeled fan 1. And that's going to be PA3. And I know that we had connected our bed fans over to fan 1. So this is not going to be a heater fan necessarily. This can be a different type of fan. And the cool thing, and the reason I like to use Fluid, is because I can just click the link above it. It'll take me to the direct spot in Calico that I need to cross-reference all that information. It tells me what a heater fan is. It's enabled whenever the heater is active. What I think I need is a different kind of fan, so we may have to change the label. I think what I need is a heated fan. So this is your print cooling fan, only available in Calico, that allows part cooling air to be closer to the printed part temperature. Probably not that. So maybe it's a temperature fan? Temperature triggered cooling fans. It's a fan that will be enabled whenever its associated sensor is above a set temperature. By default, a temperature fan has a shutdown speed equal to max power. So I'm not exactly sure which one I want to use here. I know there's a heater fan and a heated fan and a temperature fan. Let's see, print cooling fans, heater fan maybe? I know there are other bed fan macros too that I need to go back and look at. So we'll pause on doing that, but this is the correct pin for what it is. And again, I'll just make a quick note here on what fan we're using, just in case we need to change it. But the name of this is going to be bed fans, whatever it is. And then this one down here is also different. So if I were using the CB1, it would be GPIO 79. This would be connected directly to our 40 pin row. I'm not doing that. My fan for the drivers is on a heater pin. So that is on, what is this? DC VIN over here, I think. No, we are on hot end 0. So this is going to be hot end 0 here. And the pin we're using this is going to be, if I could spell correctly, driver fans. Hot end 0. The pin for that, just double checking my stuff over here. Looks like PC5. And again, I'm not sure if heater fan is what I want, but that's what we have for now. The heater fan needs a heater, right? So on the example, it uses the extruder. You could use your bed or something like that. I want it to be tied to a stepper. And so I'm not sure what one that is. We'll have to go through, and controller fan probably is the best option here. So controller fan, we'll copy that guy, bring this here. Controller fan is going to be PC5. There's probably some other things I need. What else? Yes, stepper, probably need that. And so anytime this stepper is activated, it's going to activate this fan, and so we'll call it stepper X. It could also be stepper Y. And that should be good. So that fan will come on when those steppers are activated. There are other configurations we can do, but that's pretty basic for what I like. Coming back down here, another cool option with the link, there are different kinematics we can use. So we know that it's a Core XY because it is a legacy kind of thing. But we have this thing called limited Core XY that's available with Calico, and it adds additional parameters. And specifically what you're able to do is have individual accels and individual velocities for X and Y. You don't have to have just a single one like you would for Core XY here. So Core XY up here, whatever you put in for your kinematics are going to carry over between X and Y. But if you have individual limitations, you can break it out. And so we're going to do that. And so we want, sorry, I know I'm switching a lot. We want the Core XY limited. So we'll paste that there. And then coming back, we'll get the rest of this. And that can come under here. Some of this we will use, some of this we will not. So we've got max XXL. And then you have max Y. And then you have max Z. I'm just organizing these so it makes sense in my brain. I like them to be in order. I don't know what the default is here. Maybe max XL is 500 on this. I don't know what makes sense. The example has nothing for that. It says C core XY above, max acceleration. Default is to use max XL for max X. Cool. And so after you run input shaper, you'll know where your max accelerations are, and you'll be able to go in here and put them in. So I think 3000 is what they're using for default. So maybe it's 5000 for these. Z is at 100, cool. And then we go in, we're able to go through and do our max individual accels as well. So we've already got a max Z. We've already got a max overall. So we can get rid of all of that. We've also got a max velocity for Z, so we can get rid of that as well. So the last little bit we need is the scale XY. And then we'll say true. And so what that's going to do for us is limit the acceleration based on what we put in for the different axes. So when they don't match, it's going to kind of do the math on you. Slicer will override clipper max settings. Think of clipper max as defaults. Yeah, track it. But I still like to set them in here, kind of talk through it. That's the thing. Right. I already know also that I'm not using 2209 configs for X and Y, so I can remove those. We will use them for the rest of these. Extruder is going to be slightly different because that's going to be on the Nighthawk. So we'll come back to that guy. And then this needs to be 2240. For X and Y. And then for Z, I'm not doing any of that. So we can get rid of that as well. Cool, done. PD9 for your CS pin, that checks for what I'm seeing over here. PD8 for Y, that also checks on this stuff. So 0.8 is the safe one, sure, whatever. And yeah, that should be a pretty basic, good start. The other one we're gonna need is our Nighthawk stuff. So we go to Nighthawk, 36, GitHub. Ooh, like super zoomed in on this. So we'll copy the raw on that. A and C. Get rid of those. And then we'll come below this. Paste it there. Okay. So I know that I'm not using a probe. Right? No, we are using a probe. We're using clicky. And we know our hot end fan is good to go here. And my extruder, 2209, we're gonna copy this and move it up here with our other stuff. So we'll put it here. Actually, that's gonna be our Z. So we'll do that. We'll call this, this needs to be stepper Z1. And this needs to be stepper Z2. Diag pin for that is P6 looks like. What is the diag pin for that? I don't think it has one. Yeah, I don't think it has one. We'll come back to it. Either way, run current says below 0.7, so let's do that, 0.7. Enabled. Interpolate false, cool. There's our 2209 for our extruder. All this stuff for Nighthawk here, we can delete that. I'm gonna move our MCU down with the rest of our MCU stuff. I know that was at the bottom of the original config somewhere. Did I miss it? Right here. So we'll put it right here. That makes sense. What else? We've got end stops for X. Okay. Cut that one. We'll put this up with our motor stuff. So end stop pin for X is that. And then what else? We have, so let me get rid of all this. Extruder. Let's copy this one and bring this over to our extruder section right here. Yep, all checks. I know that I want this to be MPC, which means I can comment out those. My sensor type is a PT1000. And we've got to bring up some other stuff here too. So fans are fine. Can remove this stuff. Hot end fan, sure. Yep. Probe, sure. We're not doing neopixels, so these can be commented out. Action pin, sure. ADXL, sure. This should be our probe points for a 250 build, which means I can get rid of the rest of this. And then temp sensor is great. 2240s, good to go. Feel touch, NeoPixel will eventually use. There are 2 different ports on there for that, so we can do that. Yeah, that's the basic config. It's not going to connect. We still need to flash clipper and do all those things, but that's for another time. So that said, we're going to wrap stream. Things are about as far as we can get done today. We did 3.5 hours, pretty good. Next one is probably going to be focused primarily on getting all the config to a point that makes sense. I'll work on it back and forth throughout the week as much as I can to try to get us a little bit further along. But that's going to wrap stream for us. I appreciate all 31 of you, 29 of you, whatever the number is, hanging out, liking the stream, participating, asking questions. Stream's going to push the rest of you over to Steve. So if you hang out for 20 seconds after that, should be good to go and push you over to Steve Builds, who is dealing with the Voron 0 basic. So the giveaway printer. So all of you, have a good week. Enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. We'll see you next week Sunday, same time, 0730. Have a good one, Wick Central.